Hello, I'm Andrea Nicholson of Healthy Life with Andrea, holistic nutrition therapist, and I am so excited to share this information today because today we're going to talk all about fatigue, the little known causes and the fastest way to increase your energy for good. And it doesn't involve supplements or caffeine. But before we get started, I have a question for you. Do you wake up already feeling tired? All you want to do is keep hitting the snooze button because even just a few extra minutes would make a huge difference. Or do you find yourself reaching for sugar or caffeine throughout the day just to make it through to the end of the day? I want you to know, even before we dig into this information, that you can get your energy back and stop relying on that snooze button or extra coffee in the morning. Now, I wanted to talk about this topic because fatigue and low energy is one of the things I hear complaints about the most often, both from my clients in my holistic nutrition therapy practice and also from friends and family. Fatigue and periods of low energy is common. What bothers me most about this is we've come to believe that it's normal to be tired, that it's just a side effect of being busy and having a full life, or that it's because we're getting older. While fatigue may be common, it is not normal. I want you to know that if you're struggling with low energy, which I'm assuming you are because that's why you're watching me, that you absolutely can change it. That's exactly what I'm going to show you today. It's time to say goodbye to the fatigue and the low energy that you have been living with. Now imagine for a minute how different your life could be if your energy level was actually stable from the time you woke up all day long until you got back into bed. Just think about it. Would you be able to handle stress better? Would you be more patient with yourself and everyone else in your life? Would you be able to think more clearly and be more productive? And would you be able to enjoy your life and have the energy to do the things that you really want to do instead of just getting by? Think about what all of that would mean for you. Think about how much happier you could be. Now, you're in the right place today if you're currently able to squeak out just enough energy to get through the essentials in life, but you wish you had more energy throughout the day so that you could truly enjoy social plans and time with your friends and family, instead of those events feeling like just one more thing on the to-do list that just adds to the exhaustion. You're also in the right place if you'd like to have more patience with your family, your friends, your coworkers, and even yourself. You're also in the right place today if your low energy is preventing you from exercising the way that you want, or even preparing healthy meals. You're also in the right place today if you're really good at taking care of everything and everyone, but feeling exhausted and drained the minute you sit down to take a break. I have a client who came to me saying that when I finally sit down on the couch at like 7 o'clock at night, I am in serious debate if it's too early to go to bed. Does that sound like you? Before I go any further, you might be wondering how I got here, how I know firsthand what it's like. I know firsthand what it's like to feel tired, worn out, overwhelmed, brain fogged, and trying desperately to feel like myself again. Productive, motivated, full of energy, and able to enjoy work and social life. I've been through it all. I've been overweight and tired in my 20s. I was fit but exhausted in my 30s. And now in my 40s, I'm fit, healthy, and vibrant. This is not the trajectory most people are on. Now for me, it took a lot of investigative work, a lot of trial and error, and a ton of mistakes along the way, but I'm here to make it easier for you. It's never too late or too early to fix your energy struggles. I didn't even know back in the day that my blood sugar levels were way too high, which then of course caused them to plummet to the bottom. I was completely addicted to caffeine and other pick-me-ups. I couldn't remember anything or concentrate. I put all of my energy into my high stress, long workday job as a forensic investigator at the time. So by the time I got home, I was completely wiped out. I had no life. Everything extra seemed like taking on another job. I just couldn't. The strategies I'm sharing with you today are the same ones I used to get my life and energy back. I want to share a client story with you as well. We'll call her Samantha for privacy purposes. She came to me after getting a pre-diabetes diagnosis from her doctor. She was struggling with her weight, she had low energy, had really difficult time concentrating, and was not truly living her life. She hated her body, she didn't feel capable of working out, and she basically stayed home all of the time. She just really wanted to feel good in her skin again, to be able to get back out hiking and socializing, and she really wanted to reverse the pre-diabetes. Now, after only a few weeks of modifying her diet, adding in some small activities, and changing her perspective on the journey, her blood sugars came back down. She was feeling excited about getting out walking, and her entire outlook on her life and her body changed. This is what's possible for you too, even if your story looks different. What if you could reclaim your energy, didn't have afternoon crashes or have to rely on caffeine and sugar to get through the day? What if you woke up without your alarm clock? And what if you had extra energy to do all of the things you love to do, personally and professionally, and no longer had to just get through the day? These are all the things that my clients have found when taking the steps that I'm outlining today. And they worked for me too. Today, we're going to cover 6 little-known causes of fatigue and low energy, the foods and drinks that are the top energy thieves, and one simple strategy that you can implement immediately to avoid the afternoon energy crash and subsequent binging on sugar. The fastest way to increase your energy for good, and it doesn't involve supplements or caffeine, and the 5 powerhouse energy boosting foods you can easily integrate into your life and diet today. No matter what, you can use this information right away to create change so that you can regain your energy for good. And if you utilize even one of these strategies that I'm sharing with you today, I guarantee you will shift your energy. Now, I'm teaching this because I know what can happen for you when you have more energy. I know that your life, work, and relationships can dramatically improve just by having more energy. Okay, so let's talk about what happens when your energy is low. When my clients first come to work with me, one of the top complaints is they wake up and unenthusiastically have to drag themselves out of bed and then use coffee to make it through the morning. As the day goes on, they find that they get stressed really easily and they get overwhelmed by everything they have to do. They might even lose their patience with others and have a hard time effectively getting things done. All of this leads them to feeling bad about the various things in their lives. Pair this with the low energy in the afternoon, and they end up craving sweets, carbs, and more caffeine to give them that emotional and physical boost. But then eating those foods puts them back on the roller coaster of energy, which we're going to come back to. They get hungrier and they feel heavier and bloated, and this starts them on a downward spiral of feeling even more fatigued, worse about themselves, and totally stuck in a rut. I want you to take a minute and think about a day when your energy was really low. Maybe it was yesterday. Maybe it was most days. Now, I want you to think about a day when it went really well for you. Which of the 2 days felt easier? Which day felt like a long day? Which day did you actually get everything done that you wanted to get done? How was your stress level between the 2 different days? What did you eat on those 2 days? Did you have any cravings or different cravings between the 2 days? How were your interactions with your kids, your significant other, coworkers, even other drivers on the road on those 2 days? My guess is your responses to these questions, especially on the low energy day, are less than ideal, not how you'd choose to feel if you could wave your magic wand and be the type of person you want to be. It's important to realize and connect to the fact that your energy affects the quality of your entire life. Now let's start out talking about the 6 little known culprits that are stealing your energy, keeping you drained and exhausted. As a holistic nutritionist, there are 6 major things that I see that keeps clients reaching for caffeine, sugar, and other pick-me-ups throughout the day. That leads them to laying on the couch at 7 p.m., wondering if it's too early to go to bed. So let's talk through these 6 things. Number 1, consuming foods and drinks that are actually stealing your energy. Number 2, having unbalanced blood sugars. Number 3, compromised adrenal health. Number 4, either not exercising at all or over-exercising. Number 5, gut health issues such as undiagnosed food sensitivities. And number 6, being too stressed out and not getting enough quality sleep. Now, we don't have time to go through all 6 of these in detail today, but I'm going to help you with the one that will give you the quickest win. It's to stop consuming foods and drinks that are stealing your energy. So what are the biggest offending foods? Number 1 is refined carbohydrates. And we hear talk about carbohydrates all the time, but what exactly is a refined carbohydrate? Foods that fall into this category are things like white pasta, white bread, crackers, pretzels, most cereals, and most baked goods. Now, you might be thinking, how and why do these foods drain your energy? Well, let's back up a step and define what refined means. Refined foods are not whole foods. They're foods that have been stripped of their fiber and their nutrients. Now, a whole grain is made up of 3 parts: the bran, the germ, and the endosperm. The bran is the outer layer that contains the fiber, B vitamins, and trace minerals. This is the layer that actually protects the seed. The endosperm is the middle layer that contains the carbohydrate and protein. And then the germ is the inner layer that contains the antioxidants like vitamin E, has more B vitamins, and this is where the healthy fats are. So to get a visual in your head, even though it's not a grain, if you think of this like an egg, the bran would be like the shell, the endosperm would be like the white, and the germ would be like the yolk. So the whole grain would be like eating the entire egg. Now, of course, that's a ridiculous example because when we eat an egg, we don't eat the shell, but you get the point and the visual. A refined grain would be like just eating the egg white. These 3 parts contain elements that are important for your body, including the antioxidants, the B vitamins, the fiber, the protein, minerals, and healthy fats. But refined carbohydrates only have the endosperm. So this means that most of the fiber and nutrients have been removed, leaving behind only the carbohydrate. Some of these refined carbohydrates have then been enriched with nutrients. Don't be fooled by these fancy marketing messages. When a food has been enriched, what this actually means is synthetic vitamins and nutrients have been artificially added back in, but not necessarily in the right form, in the right proportions, or even the right nutrients. Let's take vitamin D enriched orange juice as an example. Vitamin D is a fat-soluble vitamin. There's no fat in oranges. Therefore, there's no vitamin D naturally found in oranges or orange juice. So vitamin D has been artificially added to this juice. But you can't absorb it in this form because it requires fat to be absorbed. So we've added a synthetic vitamin to a food that it doesn't naturally belong in, and in unnatural amounts, because any is more than the none that would have naturally occurred. Food manufacturers then charge you more for this fancy OJ that isn't actually doing you any good, and it may be doing you harm as a refined food product. So let's talk about why refined carbohydrates deplete you and what makes you tired. When your body digests food, it uses nutrients from that food to do this important work. But when you eat a refined carb that's lacking in those necessary nutrients, Your body has to utilize stored nutrients in order to process the food you just ate. Using these stored nutrients depletes your energy. Eating refined carbs causes a roller coaster energy cycle, spiking and crashing repeatedly. This happens when you eat a food and get a quick energy boost, followed by an ugly crash of energy an hour or two later. Why does this happen? Because refined grains have been stripped of most of the dietary fiber. They cause your blood sugar to spike rapidly as you digest these foods really quickly. When your blood sugar levels skyrocket, it feels like an emergency to the body, and your body will do what it has to do to get those blood sugar levels back down. So insulin is pumped out, which causes your blood sugar levels to drop rapidly, often to levels lower than they were before you ate. This rapid swinging of your blood sugar is stressful and exhausting to your overall system. It causes an increase in appetite and can also release stress chemicals into the bloodstream like cortisol and adrenaline. Have you experienced this energy roller coaster? Getting that energy high and then the subsequent crash? What foods seem to cause that for you? Some examples could be bread, cereal, chips, popcorns, rice, pasta, desserts, baked goods. Many of the clients I come with experience strong carb cravings, saying, I just can't help myself. I don't have enough willpower. My cravings take over. I smile a little bit when I hear this because there's actually a very easy, simple system that I use with these clients to end their carbohydrate cravings. They're constantly amazed at how well this works, and it actually has nothing to do with willpower. When you dramatically reduce your cravings for carbohydrates, especially refined carbohydrates, everything else becomes easier. And it doesn't have to be accomplished by eating less. It can be accomplished by making some simple changes to your food choices. A pro tip that I teach my private clients is to start upgrading the carbohydrates you are eating. For example, if you're eating a pasta salad for lunch, you can upgrade that meal by using quinoa instead of pasta. My client, we'll call her Julie, came to me because she was frustrated at her loss of energy. She felt like an old woman, even though she still has decades ahead of her. She didn't have the energy to exercise, to cook dinner, or the motivation to be active like she used to be. What she realized through our work together is that she had been eating far more refined carbohydrates than she realized. They were disguised in many of the things that she thought were healthy foods. She'd been eating a bagel for breakfast, a sandwich for lunch, pasta for dinner, protein bars and shakes for snacks. In all, she was eating over 200 grams of carbohydrates per day, with over 75% of them being refined carbohydrates. Once she made this realization, she made a few simple swaps to her food choices, eliminating some sources of carbs altogether and upgrading the remaining carbohydrates. And within a couple of weeks, she came back ecstatic about how much more energy and vitality she had. Not only that, but she found benefits she hadn't even expected. She was actually enjoying her work again. She was excited about her exercise program. She lost some weight, and she felt an improved connection with her husband. Overall, she felt amazing about herself. Most of these she hadn't even reported as a problem in the beginning. So you can see how having more energy can have a significant ripple effect on your whole life. So we just talked about the number one top energy stealing offending food, refined carbohydrates. Number two is caffeine. You might think it's actually the opposite, because if you're tired, caffeine will get you going. But that's because caffeine increases your body's release of cortisol and adrenaline that give you the energy high. Unfortunately, if you overconsume caffeine, you pay for it later. It's kind of like being broke and getting a cash advance. High levels of caffeine can cause increased fatigue. Here's why. When you consume large quantities of caffeine, whether that's in coffee, soda, energy drinks, the caffeine blocks the neurotransmitter adenosine. This ultimately leads to fatigue. The whole time adenosine is being blocked, It's still being produced by your body. But when the caffeine wears off, there's this big buildup of the adenosine, and you feel a big rush of it all at once, making you feel exhausted. And when you add things like sugar and sweetened creams to your coffee, you're also experiencing the blood sugar crash that we talked about when we talked about refined carbohydrates. So a pro tip here is to boost your energy by eating powerhouse energy boosting foods so that you don't have to rely on caffeine. There are 5 energy boosting foods that you can easily introduce into your diet today. Easy is important here because we're all busy. And if you're struggling with low energy right now, I know that you need simple strategies that will give you a quick fix. So what are the 5 energy boosting foods? Number 1 is green and orange fruits and vegetables. What's so special about orange and green? These are loaded with potassium and magnesium, both of which are needed for your body's energy production. Number 2 is nuts and seeds. They are filled with iron as well as potassium and magnesium, which again are needed for energy. The nuts and seeds also come with healthy fats that can provide you with lasting energy and satiety. Just use caution here, as a serving size for nuts and seeds is way smaller than you might think. Number 3 is beans, if you tolerate them, and non-starchy vegetables. These are complex carbohydrates filled with fiber and tons of nutrients. They're broken down slowly by your body and therefore give you good, stable energy throughout the day. Now, one small caveat I'll give you here is beans don't work for everyone. They're a common food sensitivity and they don't digest well for many people. If that's you, no worries. Just lean more into the non-starchy veggies. Number 4 is animal proteins, which is also broken down slowly and helps stabilize your energy and your blood sugar levels. If you're vegetarian and you're able to eat eggs, those are a great source of protein. If you're vegan and don't eat any animal proteins, you can focus on high protein plant-based foods like quinoa, beans, and nuts. But again, beware here. A plant-based protein comes with a bigger carbohydrate load, and you'll end up eating far more carbs than an animal protein eater would to get adequate protein, which then can contribute to blood sugar dysregulation, insulin resistance, and other digestive issues. I would also caution vegans and vegetarians against eating high amounts of soy. Many hormone dysregulations can occur due to the phytoestrogens in soy. Number 5 is medium chain triglycerides, or MCTs. These are a unique type of fat found commonly in coconut and palm oils. These types of fats are digested and absorbed differently than other fats. They're shunted directly to the liver to be used for energy, not to be stored as fat. You can include these oils in your diet by adding MCT oil directly to coffee, tea, smoothies, or other recipes. You can also get some MCTs in grass-fed butter, cheese, full-fat cow, sheep, or goat's milk, and some yogurts. One word of caution here. Go slow when you're adding pure MCTs. Start with a teaspoon and work your way up from there. Many people experience digestive distress when these types of fats are added to their diet if they have too much all at once. They're perfectly safe for most people, but the digestive system needs a little bit of time to adapt to them. Depending on where you're at with your food, this list may seem a little intimidating. You may be thinking that you don't know what to buy or what to do with some of these foods when you get home from the store. Or you might be thinking that you don't have time to cook these foods or work them into your meals. But the good news is, it's actually really easy and simple to easily incorporate these foods in your diet. I find that as my clients start to try out new foods, this is one of the areas that they're pleasantly surprised by. At first, they think I'm going to make their life so much more difficult, but instead I make it easier because I teach them how to simplify their meal planning, shopping, and cooking so that they can actually save time and energy. Now, let's keep going with the foods that are stealing your energy. The number 3 offender is sugar and sugary drinks. These are also types of refined carbohydrates. So some examples here are the obvious things like candy, cookies, cakes, soda. By the way, did you know a can of soda can have 39 grams of sugar? That's almost 10 teaspoons of sugar. But there are also not so obvious items that appear to be healthy but are often loaded with sugar, such as cereals, granola bars, protein bars, and juice. And just like with the refined carbohydrates we talked about, these high sugar foods cause your blood sugar to spike, giving you a quick boost of energy and then a crash, which drains the body of energy. When you reach for sugar, your body is trying to tell you something. It's trying to tell you that it needs a boost of energy. And one of the reasons you may be fatigued to begin with is that you're dehydrated. In fact, 75% of Americans are chronically dehydrated. Lack of water is actually the number one trigger of daytime fatigue. What's actually happening biologically when you're dehydrated is the blood volume in your body is reduced. This decreased blood volume results in lower energy levels, which leads us to the final pro tip of the day, which is to ensure that you're drinking adequate amounts of clean, filtered water throughout the day. This is something you can implement immediately to avoid the afternoon crash and those subsequent sugar binges. This strategy can not only dramatically boost your energy, but can also regulate your metabolism. Most of us know if we eat sugar and junk food that we feel like crap afterwards, right? When you're well hydrated, your organs are able to perform more optimally. This allows your metabolism to be more efficient at bringing in and using nutrients. Even mild dehydration can slow down your metabolism and interfere with thousands of chemical reactions occurring in your body that need water. Obviously, water is crucial, not just for having good energy, but for overall health. Now, lots of people say they don't like water, but it doesn't have to be plain from the tap water. I actually don't even recommend tap water at all due to the toxins and chemicals added to the tap water, but that's a different topic. You can also improve your hydration with herbal or naturally decaffeinated teas served either hot or cold. You can make your own lemonade using water, a little lemon juice, and some stevia or monk fruit. You can just add a slice of fruit like a strawberry, blueberries, oranges, lemons, limes that can totally transform a plain glass of water. You can make a whole pitcher like this. There are even infusion bottles now to keep the fruit in a separate container, but allows all those flavors to infuse. Cucumber slices also make a delicious water enhancer. Okay, so now the burning question that always comes up is how much water do you need? A good common baseline calculation is to look at your weight and divide that in half, and that is the number of ounces that you should aim for each day. So for example, someone who weighs 150 pounds, if you divide that 150 in two, you have 75. So that person would aim to consume about 75 ounces or 9 cups a day. Now, of course, water needs do vary based on your level of exercise, the climate you live in, the types of foods you're eating, medications you're taking, and many other lifestyle factors, but this is kind of a good starting point. Don't worry if you feel like you don't need water right now. Once you start drinking more water, your thirst mechanism will get stronger. Your body will actually remember that it needs it, and you'll feel great when you have it, so you'll start to crave it more, which will make it so much easier to drink. Initially, you may also need the restroom more often, but your bladder will also adjust to drinking this much water, so just be patient with it in the beginning. And remember, you're also getting water from some of your foods, especially fruits and vegetables. So the more you load up on those, the more fluid you're getting without having to drink it. So today we focused on the foods and drinks that are either stealing you energy or giving you energy. But this is just one piece of the puzzle. In my work with private clients, we look at all 6 pieces of this puzzle to ending the fatigue and increasing their energy for good without having to rely on the caffeine and other pick-me-ups. Starting with the energy boosting foods is the fastest way to improve your energy balance. But if you're really looking for long-term sustainable success with boosting your energy, you will also want to address balancing your blood sugar. This one is critical to bringing in and using fuels effectively and efficiently. We primarily burn two types of fuel for energy: glucose, which most of our food gets broken down into, and fat, which is both dietary and stored fat. You can't burn fat if your blood sugar is elevated. So regulating your blood sugar is key. The second part is addressing your adrenal health. This is your stress system, which also relates to all of the other hormones in your body: reproductive, digestive, and metabolic hormones like your thyroid. Elevations or depletions in your adrenal system can absolutely cause low energy and fatigue. The third part is giving your body exercise that's right for it. Both under and over training can cause energy imbalances. We are designed to move, but we can activate the stress system if we overtrain. The fourth part is tackling gut health issues like food sensitivities and microbial imbalances. This is one of the top priorities I focus on with my clients. If you can't digest and absorb the nutrients that you're taking in, they can't do you any good, regardless of how clean your diet is. And lastly is we have to find ways to de-stress and get more restful sleep. This one relates to adrenal health, blood sugar dysregulation, food cravings, and how well you're rejuvenating. Without adequate sleep or with really high stress levels, physical or emotional, all lead to the issues we've already discussed. So have you tried to improve energy levels on your own, but you haven't had much luck? Now, this is likely because you haven't addressed all 6 pieces. They all have to be addressed to fully correct the imbalance. So let's review quickly what we've discussed today and what to do to fast track your results. We talked about the foods and drinks that are the top energy stealers: refined carbohydrates, caffeine, and sugar. We've discussed how upgrading your carbohydrates will help you have stable energy throughout the day. I shared the 5 powerhouse foods that you can easily integrate into your diet. And we learned how drinking plenty of water can help you avoid the afternoon crashes and subsequent binges on sugar. And if you're really ready to fast track your results, it's time to get some expert support and guidance. If that's you, I want to invite you to fill out the health assessment form. From this short form that will only take a couple of minutes, I'll reach back out to you with my top recommendations for your next steps. I want you to uncover the hidden causes of your fatigue that are keeping you feeling drained and exhausted. I want you to have crystal clear vision for the strategies that are suited for your body to help you get your energy back, and to have the action plan to implement those strategies. Now, if you keep doing the same old things, you'll keep getting the same old results. If you keep doing what hasn't been working, it will continue not working. And you'll keep reaching for caffeine, wishing you felt better. I know it can be hard to get where you want to go, and the struggle is real. I want more for you. I want what you want. And I want to be a part of your healing journey so you can find the imbalances and implement the strategies quickly and easily. Fill out the form so that we can get going on implementing the 6 steps in your life. We will take a look at what needs to be shifted with your food, your hormones, and your lifestyle factors, and we'll find the gaps to show you what's missing so that you can end the fatigue and boost your energy for good. So this opportunity is for you if you're serious about ending the exhaustion you're experiencing. You're willing to be coachable and get guidance around what to eat and the other pieces that will support this journey. And you really want to feel great in a healthy, sustainable way. If you're ready for some expert help, want to get a handle on your fatigue and jumpstart your energy, fill out the form. Let's get started today. Just by filling out this form, you'll get a whole new level of understanding of what's really been holding you back from feeling energized throughout the day. Tap more fully into the underlying issues that have been keeping you feeling down. Plus, you'll feel inspired to take new action and create a plan that really works for your unique body. I hope you found this information valuable. I loved sharing it with you. I can't wait to support you in your journey towards increasing your energy for good.